Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stunner, with another episode of VSW. Thank you. That's great. I really appreciate all the applause, but really I want to jump right into it. We're here, back with part 2, night 2
sequel, baby,
of WrestleMania 37. We're here, like I said, we got Disabled Wolf
here,
and Mike Panchu.
Hello once again. Thanks for having me. Excited to cover night 2. And can I get right into it, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Dive right into it.
Let's go. WrestleMania night 2. Women's tag title match. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax defends against the winner of night 1.
Okay, I mean, if y'all heard what we said night 1, we both basically, I think we both agreed that, the Riot Squad was going to win.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think whoever wins this match is going to grab the titles, and become the next women's champions. That's, all I'm really going to say about this match.
And they're going to break up Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, as we covered in night 1. But
I think Shayna's eventually just going to go, more to singles, just be that dominating force. Eventually probably
like in NXT.
Like she was in NXT. Eventually get that women's title match eventually, and I think she'll go on about her way. Nia Jax will just keep being Nia Jax. I don't want to say anything bad. Like my mom said, if I can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. So I'll keep it at that about Nia Jax.
I think this should be placed so we got 7 matches.
I think this needs to open it.
I disagree because it won't be something someone's exciting for. But I think it should be a middle of the card after a real good match, or the third match, I believe, because when I explain the match order later, it will make more sense. But I'm ready to move on.
Oh, yeah, I definitely am. Like I said, I already know what's going to happen. I think I know what's going to happen in this matchup.
All right, next match. United States title match. Matt Riddle versus Sheamus.
Isn't he just Riddle now?
Well, he's the current U.S. champ because Keith Lee's been injured. Was supposed to be the Elimination Chamber. They had Morrison get the pin cover for Matt Riddle. But it could be a good match, but I think it'd be a perfect second match of the card. If I think Matt Riddle will go over Sheamus, they had to put him there because he had an impressive showing against Drew McIntyre in the Elimination Chamber.
I think Sheamus is going to win. I'm going to tell you this. I'm not really a fan of Matt Riddle. I like his wrestling ability. He's a great athletic
He got called
wrestler.
up too fast.
Here's my issue with Matt Riddle. He is your stereotypic stoner that gives all of us stoners a very, very bad name. We're not all about bros and fist bumps, as you see. I'm all about stoners in suits. Many people that smoke weed are very, very successful business people. You don't even know. It's not this whole stoner mentality. I just don't like it. I think it's degrading to people that smoke weed. I think it plays stupid. I don't believe it belongs in this era. Probably would have been great in the Attitude Era where people had these kind of gimmicks. But right now it just doesn't fit. Again, Sheamus, the better wrestler in this. He had his last match was very impressive. I think he gets the victory on this. This actually could open WrestleMania, as well as it's kind of not, the most anticipated match, but it's something that could be exciting. It's a title match. It could be exciting.
I definitely agree. If it doesn't open, it should be very early, like the second match, regardless.
Exactly. Let's keep moving on, Pinch.
IC title match. Apollo Crews versus Big E in a Nigerian steel cage.
Because they finally added a stipulation. I'll admit, before they had this match way too many times. Yeah, Apollo turned heel, which is great. But here's the thing. My original thoughts for the IC title match, since Big E was champ, I was hoping this would be a ladder match, just like WrestleMania 31, which was great, or WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. They got so many good mild card guides in SmackDown that could have been added. But now, with this Friday on SmackDown, with the promo you got and the stipulation, I'm actually really excited for this match now that you don't need to add other people in it. How about you, Versace?
First off, I'm still at can you explain to me what a Nigerian cage match is?
I don't really know. Maybe it's similar to when the Great Khali faced Undertaker in the Punjabi prison match. I think it'll be something similar to this because Apollo Crews, they called it reverse Kofi when Kofi first debuted with a Jamaican accent. Now he has a Nigerian accent.
He does. He did change gimmicks up a little bit there. I think that they're gonna... I'm excited for this match. Both of them are great competitors. I'm loving to see the singles competition out of Big E. I think Big E is going to win this match.
But I think you could make a case for either guys to win. But you want this match to go at least 15 minutes because you don't want the loser of this match to look weak.
They're not going to look weak. The reason I'm saying Big E wins is I don't think that, New Day as a whole will take it 2 L's at WrestleMania. I don't think so. It's just not, really in their idea. I don't think that, I think the other two are going to lose night one. So that's why I'm thinking Big E is going to win and kind of, break off even further apart away from the other two and keep going further into, solo victory and solo status.
Because in case they can't get, guys part-timers to come back for Future Mania, you're going to want Big E high up in the card for Future Mania. So
there's plenty of many good years out of Big E left. He's just started in singles
who would ever
career.
thought when he debuted as Ziggler's bodyguard that he would have no personality? He was the second ever NXT champion, too. And he was very charismatic when he joined the New Day. It was great for him.
He is one of the most charismatic members of that group. I think he's one of the people that make me even like that group. He's not as corny as the other two members when it comes to, that PG era style of, promoting themselves.
Absolutely. But I think I'm going to disagree with you. Like I said on night one, I think there's going to be some angle at the New Day. I think it will be a great match. Neither match guys will look weak. But I think Apollo will win because you could have him be a heel. And I would love to see Cesaro take that title off him in the future and be IC champ. So give Apollo a run with it. The problem with him is he got called up way too early 5 years ago when me and you, Panch, were at the draft in Worcester because he was great backflips. He should have stayed in NXT longer, but they're finally realizing their mistakes with Apollo and they're allowing him to be himself.
The call-up curse.
Absolutely. But I think this match should be the third to last match because this has a personal grudge to it.
It's the IC title match. It should have some prestige. It definitely should be very up high on the card. The IC title match always was.
Yeah, my only problem with this before the stipulation is they done this match too many times, but finally there's a reason for this match now, which I'm really excited about compared to before last Friday. But I'm ready to move on. Are you Versace?
Oh, sure I am.
Asuka versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's title.
We got to see Rhea Ripley last year at Mania.
Oh.
It wasn't the match we really wanted to see.
But I think had the match had fans in it, this match would have been... It was a great match, though. In the Performance Center, she obviously lost to Charlotte, but I think she would have... won it if they had fans at Mania.
I think so. It's hard to say. Charlotte was due for one more run. She wanted gold. But, you know what? I'm excited for this match because we're going to get to see Rhea Ripley on the main roster with fans. They love her. I think it adds to her atmosphere. I was an Asuka fan during, when her NXT run. She reminded me of the Goldberg, the WCW Goldberg of NXT. She was undefeated, very impressive streak, very aggressive, scary even at times. And then she came to the main roster and it was a big flop. And I haven't been a fan since. Honestly, they put her in some tag team matches. The Kabuki Warriors made a joke out of her. She started to get the only time that she actually got her, moment was that when when Becky handed her the title.
Well, Versace, here's the thing. She was awesome in NXT. She was undefeated at a Goldberg Asuka. But here's the thing with Asuka. WrestleMania 34, her and Charlotte had a great match. great match which she lost and the streak was broken, Asuka was ruined since, didn't he?
Well, that's what I'm saying. She never, she came up, but she didn't continue with that fire, and she kept losing. She thanked her. She looked apologetic. She said, I thank you for this WrestleMania moment. She was so happy. Oh, my God, everybody happy, but she didn't win, and she kept losing ever since. And they made her look weak, and then they put her, like I said, with the tag, and you know how Vince is with his stereotypes and stuff. It's just kind of horrible. I think she got cheated out of a lot of victories, a lot more fans, and a lot more things. I mean, she'll make a comeback eventually. If she wins this, I think she will reign it. But
here's the thing with this Raw Women's title. I think it was definitely a last-minute plan because before Lacey got pregnant, I think you would have had a triple threat with Lacey as champ versus Charlotte versus
she's
Asuka.
Another one. She was great in NXT. They moved her up way too fast. They didn't even let her even get near the title before they moved her up. And, with nothing. They put her as a heel on Raw. Then they brought her on a face on SmackDown. They brought her into a storyline with, the two champions at the time, battling with Sasha and Bayley. They brought her daughter into the angle. Just all for nothing. All for no win. No victory, no gold, no nothing. And then just more flops. Back to Raw she goes. Doing the same old thing. To me, it's just a waste of talent, waste of time. For Lacey Evans. But yes, you're right. I think she was supposed to be in this title. And, speaking of women's titles, I really think that, the WWE needs to consider this. They got a lot of belts going on right now. They got a lot of titles. Why don't they just consolidate the women's titles down to one belt?
And turn one of them into a mile card for the women's.
Turn another one into a mid card, or something else. They should do this, they just need to do that. I just think that there needs to be one women's champion, one women's division. Let's not even split them up, Mondays, and let women fight whenever they want on WWE nights. Let's let it happen.
So I think it's gonna win. People may think Rhea Ripley's going, but I think Asuka, she needs a WrestleMania win, will retain, and I think you've got Charlotte Flair that's gonna come in and attack Rhea Ripley after the match to keep her momentum going.
I think Asuka is gonna continue her heel run. And to really continue that heel run, she will win that match. She will beat Rhea Ripley. And then, like you said, I think something will happen with Charlotte, and that will build another feud for maybe SummerSlam or another pay-per-view, whatever they decide to do in between then.
But I think they should place this match. Could be an opener, but I think you should have it after the Sheamus Riddle match because this is a match people either are really looking forward to or can care less about.
Well, you like I said, a lot of people are Rhea Ripley fans, and those people that are going to be all over this match. The people that aren't or think that she got moved up or screwed over, and the people that aren't Asuka fans are going to be like, okay, let's just go on. We'll go to another match, and we'll sit this one out. So, like you said, it could either bring the fire or bring nothing. For me, I'm 50-50 on this match. I'm not super excited, but it is going to be a good match. I'm a Rhea Ripley fan. Like I said, I was an Asuka fan.
She did beat Shayna Baszler right before Christmas last year to end her reign in NXT.
So she did great. She is wonderful. What's the next match you got for us, Pinch?
Oh, this is a good one. This could honestly be match of the whole WrestleMania card in terms of technical wrestling. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn.
Well, that is a match I cannot wait for.
This
besides
is
the
good.
Main event.
This is going to be an excellent match.
Well, if you really think about it, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens grew up in Canada, kind of like Edge and Christian. Guys who are best friends in WWE, kind of like, who hate each other the most, but in this case, they're best friends. Give each other the best matches. You look at Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Undertaker, Kane, they have great chemistry.
Like I said, look at Yokozuna, Undertaker, best of friends in real life, gave the best matches, best casket match, all sorts of things. And it's true, the chemistry is going to be amazing between these two. Kevin Owens is a stand-up wrestler. He puts his body on the line. He's not afraid to do so. He puts himself up there. He
amazing
does crazy
on the
spots,
mic.
Crazy spots, dives, whatever, He should have been booked more seriously like he was in the Indies. That's my only gripe with him. He was vicious. He was, really hard-hitting. He kind of lost some of that steam with that comedy shit. Like I said, running away from Braun Strowman and all of that crap. Then you got Sami Zayn. He is hilarious. Wicked funny on the mic.
Oh, he's so... Him and his conspiracies against WWE is great for his gimmick.
It's perfect. He looks like one of those crazy people. He's great. He is great, and I think that it's going to be one of those Mania moment matches. This is going to be the sleeper match.
But here's the thing. In NXT, when Kevin Owens debuted, won a squash match on the NXT Arrival takeover, and then they all congratulate Sammy when they won, and Kevin Owens powerbombed them, which started the feud. But we've never had... All their matches were Kevin Owens as a heel and Sammy as the face. I'm looking forward because the roles are reversed.
Exactly.
So you're keeping it fresh without being repetitive.
Exactly.
I think this could be a Meltzer 5-star match.
Like I said, and I just said before you were saying that, this is going to be the sleeper match of the night. It's going to be the match that's going to pull out and probably be the best match. They're going to give it their all. Kevin Owens always does. Sami Zayn, like you said, they're good friends. The chemistry's there. You're out of nowhere. This is going to revive the fans. It's probably going to be high up on the card because it's going to be such high energy. It's going to get everybody pumped for these main events. As you know, you can definitely lose steam during a Mania.
Absolutely.
Midway, if the matches get a little stale. It's happened to me many a times. I think this match will be the one to revive everything. And I'm looking forward to it.
I think there's only 2 places this match is going to be. You can disagree with me. I either think it's going to open the card, which will be a great opener, or the very middle of the card, like I think it should be, because you get to break up. Some matches on night 2 are better used for filters, but this match should get either the first or middle of the card.
First wouldn't be bad either, because it can jumpstart the show into a great show. And then, like I said, middle of the match will revive people from a couple maybe duller matches.
Like, I think you should put Sheamus and Riddle for the U.S. title in the women's tag match earlier in the card, right before this. And then this is great to lead up to the main events and one filter match that I think should be placed later. I think you should give them at least 25 minutes.
Oh, this is probably going to go even longer than that. Like I said, it's a personal match, and these guys can do it. We've seen KO do it. We know he can. And like I said, this is going to be one of those sleeper matches that people are not going to be prepared to see. And when they are, they're going to be like, oh, my God, that was the match of the night.
I definitely think they're going to go with KO for the win because he inherited the stunner like Stone Cold. They need main event baby faces. He's won all the mild card titles and a former Universal Champion, and I think it will start a Sami Zayn face turn, and these two can go after tag titles in Raw, SmackDown,
exactly.
in the future.
And after his last performance, at the pay-per-view, they definitely give him this victory. He earned it.
I'm so glad these two best friends have a Mania card. Are you ready to move on?
I sure am.
All right, The Fiend versus Randy Orton.
Speaking of rivalries,
oh yeah,
my God. This is, this is WWE in long storytelling. You had, Randy Orton was the one that burned down the Wyatt complex.
A few years ago, their match was disappointing when they last faced each other in Orlando. That card lost a lot of steam after the first few matches, but they had all those 3D graphics with worms and everything. But this match. This is, whether it's a squash match or a great match, it's going to have a better story than the last time they fought each other. This is long-term storybooking at its finest.
I mean, yes, he set him on fire, but now he's back. He's burnt up. You can see it. Alexa Bliss is definitely part of it.
She is great as
she is, very
possession.
creepy, possessed. They were laying on top of him, playing around with him.
She's done it. She's the one who's really carried this feud.
She has carried him because I'm going to tell you, for a while there, the Fiend was very stale. He was starting to fall off. He definitely lost steam since he first started. You can tell he was the number one merch seller at a point. Definitely.
Absolutely.
As I own a bunch of his shirts. I believe you do too, Mike. He was very, charismatic, and he still is. But now, he got a little stale. He's back. He reminds me of Jason Voorhees, back in the 4th or 5th movie when he's all torn apart. He's back from the dead, basically. He's ready to tear Randy Orton apart. Either, like you said, this is going to be a great matchup that's going to take some time and they're going to fight each other, or it's going to be a squash match and, Randy Orton's just going to get his ass beat by The Fiend.
You could do a hybrid if they can of a cinematic and
it should have been.
ring.
It could have been. You know, it could have
Could
definitely
do that.
been. If it gets
Still
backstage, then it can go cinematic, and that's what any of these matches can happen. Is once it gets out of the view of the viewers on stage and on the stands, it can go on the screen and it can be jump right to a cinematic portion of it. And they have that ability, they have that capability, and that could enhance some of these, lesser matches to be more spectacular. And in this case, it could definitely, with the special effects that people have, wanting to see in this, definitely could enhance this match.
Absolutely. Well, since Alexa Bliss faced Randy Orton in the first time WWE's done an interpromotional match, they used the Thunderdomes, made this feud more creepy with the cloning of their faces on the Trons and the darkness in the screen, and you got black puke coming out of Orton backstage.
Yeah, you definitely had some of that.
CGI's, the special effects been amazing.
You had some of that Papa Shango action going on when Papa Shango used to put a voodoo curse on somebody. They would be oozing that black slime out of their mouth. And the same thing was happening to Randy Orton. It was just, very nostalgic, but it was also very creepy. Fans weren't expecting it. The visuals on this match are great. The special effects are great. A lot of it, is movie-style storytelling. The Fiend is great. Last year's Mania's Fiend match was unbelievable. Him versus John Cena.
That was a great match. And you even had John Cena and what people have been speculating for years in an NWO shirt.
I mean, that was one of the greatest moments to see, him coming out in the NWO. Imagine what would have happened. All of John Cena's worst fears brought to life by The Fiend.
That was a great that was better in the cinematic match than it would have been in person.
Oh, it wouldn't have been nothing in person. The Fiend is fine in person for, certain matches, but a lot of his matches are more psychological than physical, and that should be on a cinematic basis.
Absolutely, Versace, and we're doing very good on time, so we can talk a little bit, and Pantry may be able to ask a couple questions before we shoot the shit with other Twitter users. But I think, here's the thing. Since Kane is going in the Hall of Fame and Taker, I guess, is officially retired, the send-off, you need a supernatural guy to carry WrestleMania, and I think Bray Wyatt as the Fiend. If he wins this match against Randy Orton, you got the two biggest guys post-Attitude Era that he'll be back-to-back at WrestleManias. You have to have him go after either Roman Reigns or Edge in the Universal title, or go after Lashley or McIntyre in the WWE title in the future.
Oh, yeah, and I'm going to tell you, when it comes down to it at the end of it all, it is The Fiend that is turning out to be the legend killer. I mean, look at all the people he's taken out and destroyed. Finn Balor changed him,
Seth Rollins turned him heel after that disastrous Hell in a Cell.
Jerry Lawler. Even Kurt Angle, he attacked him.
Very true. Look at everyone either turns face or heel when they go against The Fiend. But I think Randy Orton has done his best work since his Evolution Legend Killer days, where his feud with Edge was great in the street fight last year.
It was, and even the greatest match, even though it was over the edge and not as, it was made more of a joke. It was very entertaining at times, and it was good. But, I'm very excited for this matchup. I think it's going to be, like you said, if it's not a squash matchup and they can make it a hybrid, I think it's going to be something special. It's going to be something fans are going to remember. Randy Orton has become very popular in the last, year. He has been doing great. If you follow him on Twitter, he's also, very funny on there, fighting off Soulja Boy. He has been, feuding with him on Twitter for some time. He's very vocal. And, he's a legend in his own era. He's dominated for a long time. And The Fiend, he's the new guy. Yes, Bray Wyatt has been around for a long time. He has a very rich family history. IRS is his father. His brother's Bodellas, that's great and all of that. But as The Fiend, he's pretty new. And he has done fantastic things moving ahead. Getting the fans to love him. They don't really know how to place him. I think originally he was supposed to be a heel. And I think the fans just fell in love. And now he has to be face or somewhat of a tweener because there's no way.
You could fit him in with any feud.
There's no way, though, that they can boo him. This man can't be booed.
Yeah, his sick, twisted, supernatural demeanor, especially with a burnt Jason Voorhees, a Chucky doll look now, it's going to add intriguing. But where I think, before I announce who I think will win this, I honestly think that this match should be no less than third to last match. I want it second to last match because you want as much darkness as possible for the Fiend's entrance and the special effects.
Of course. You don't want it during the daylight when it's still light out. You want it at night when it's dark. And like you said, it's a pretty important feud. And there's a lot of hype behind it with Alexa Bliss there. It should definitely be up further up in the match. Maybe even actually the second to last match to close the show. If there was a title involved, it would be the closing show. But I think, without a shadow of a doubt, they are going to let The Fiend win this match. I think he's going to beat Randy Orton and, show some vengeance that he's been waiting many, many years to do.
But like I said, if you have The Fiend, WWE may pull a curveball and have Orton win just to get the upper hand of this. Because if you have The Fiend beat the two biggest post-Attitude Era guys back-to-back, you have to keep him in the main event scene for the rest of his career.
Well, The Fiend is in the main event scene. He doesn't need a title to be in the main event scene. There's been titles, look at WrestleMania 8. Hogan was in the main event scene, but not for the title. He was facing Sid Justice, while Randy Savage was facing Ric Flair for the title. But, but you had Hogan close the show with not the title match. Title match didn't close the show in WrestleMania 8. I don't know. Does Vince pull something like that? Because The Fiend can give an ending to hang people over until, Monday, Tuesday, Friday. He's the one man that will make people want to tune in to see what the hell is going on.
Absolutely. You ready to move on?
I sure am.
Alrighty, moving on to the last match for Mania Night 2. The triple threat match for the Universal Championship. Edge versus Daniel Bryan versus the Universal Champion Roman Reigns.
First off, I just want to say, I get why Daniel Bryan is there, and we will discuss why in a little while. But at the same time,
Edge did win the Royal Rumble.
Edge won the Rumble, which, he's very deserving of this title shot, as any Royal Rumble winner should be. What did Daniel Bryan do that's so special to make him into the main event scene for this?
Before we get into that, Versace, I just want to say how, if you had told us 2 years ago that a main event closing WrestleMania would be Edge, Daniel Bryan, and Roman. Roman had cancer. You didn't know if he was going to live or wrestle again. Daniel Bryan with his neck and concussion issues, you would think he would never got cleared. And Edge with the similar injury.
Edge wasn't even. Edge, didn't even. He was retired until that Rumble. Yeah, you would never think of this.
It is very awesome. This is a great, deserving main event. I am very happy with the build for this match. It's going to bring out the best because Reigns is the heel. Daniel Bryan's a babyface they need to add, and Edge is great as a tweener role. He's always been great as a face and heel because he is awesome in the mic.
And this is the thing. Roman is probably my favorite WWE wrestler right now.
He is finally a heel.
He's finally a heel. I didn't hate him when he was face, but I didn't like the way he was used. I wasn't a fan. I would watch him, obviously, but I couldn't stand behind him. I couldn't, I'm sorry, the Shield was cool and all, but I'm a heel fan. I like the heel wrestlers. I think some of these wrestlers do their best work when they're heel. They don't need to be over with the crowd to be over with the crowd. Right now, Roman is more popular than he ever was because he's just letting loose on the mic, saying how he is. The same thing happened with The Rock, If he started off as a face, I don't think it would have worked. He did And look what happened. He started off as Rocky Maivia, and it didn't really get successful until he became the heel in the Nation of Domination. He let loose on the mic. He let people know, do you smell what The Rock is cooking? The same thing is happening with Roman Reigns, and this is going to be huge. He's well-deserved of that title, but you know what? So is an Edge.
Absolutely. Edge returned to the Royal Rumble last year. It was one of the very, very few things WWE did a great job in keeping from the dirt sheets. The crowd was amazing right before the pandemic started. It was one of the greatest moments of 2020.
It made grown men cry.
Me too.
It was one of those moments that we never thought as a fan that we would ever see, and we saw it. And then we saw the most unexpected. He won it the next year. That's pretty impressive for Edge coming back with an injury of his magnitude. Someone that nobody ever thought would have wrestled again. He's not a spring chicken. He's a little bit older in the game.
As everyone's noticing but he's in great shape. But
he can still hold his match. It's not like a Goldberg situation. He can throw a 5-star match. And he's great on the mic.
Especially with Daniel Bryan added into it, as he's getting very popular with add-ins to famous rival. You could even add him in Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning, Godzilla versus Kong, Batman versus Superman, because Daniel Bryan
can fit into anywhere that a third person needs to be added in. And I'm going to tell you, the reason why he's in there is, for one reason only, and that is to save face for either Roman or Edge. If one of these men in the pin, if he's there to take the pin for these guys. Nobody wants to see Roman lose the belt by pinfall. Nobody wants to see Edge lose the match by pinfall.
And you definitely don't want Roman to tap, for sure.
No, you can't have Roman tap. Roman taps, his credibility's out the window. And, and Edge, you got to be careful. You don't want to ruin his credibility either. He's just, coming back, and he just won the Rumble. You want to make him look very strong. Daniel Bryan, he's there, he already said it kind of in an interview that he wanted to put the talent over. He wants more of a backstage role in the WWE. I think he's there to take the pin for one of these two men. It could go either way. Either one of these men could win and turn it back over at SummerSlam.
I think you're guaranteed, no matter who wins this match, that the crowd will go home happy. Because here's what led to this is Daniel Bryan faced Roman Reigns in Fastlane for the Universal title, as the crowd really got there because they always want to see a face go home. And WrestleMania 30, this was the best in the PG era after the Ruthless Aggression, the Daniel Bryan Authority storyline, which he would win the title and then get stripped, get screwed. And I hate to say it, if CM Punk didn't quit after the Royal Rumble, we would have never gotten this big Daniel Bryan moment where he beat Triple H and beat all members of Evolution in one night, where he finally main evented a WrestleMania and won the WWE World Heavyweight title against Batista and Randy Orton, which was it made me feel so good as a fan, like the old days. I was so happy. But since he had that moment, he doesn't need to have this moment again.
I'm going to tell you, to be honest with you, I'm not really a fan of Daniel Bryan. I don't see the big hype. I'm not a yes movement person. I don't like all that positivity in the ring. I see what he's done for the business. He's a tremendous athlete. That's great. He gives it all his heart. We always like to see that in a performer, in a wrestler. He's very technically sound. I liked him more in the indie scene. Should he be champion again? Yeah, maybe one more run before he retires, too, would be good.
He doesn't need it Sunday, though.
He doesn't need it Sunday, but he needs it sooner than later, because he is going to transition soon to that backstage role. Does Edge need one more title before he retires? He should. He won the Royal Rumble. That shouldn't be for nothing. And Roman has some time to capture that title. He could be, 2-time, 3-time, 4-time, 5-time champion, 6-time champion, 10-time champion. Roman is... he has that Samoan dynasty in him. He could be champion forever. He could wrestle another 10, 20 years being champions. He could lose it for a little bit, still be in the main spotlight, and let somebody, that's going to retire take it for one more run.
Here's what I think, Versace. You can have a heel go over and send the fans home happy in a pandemic, or get cat fans to stick around, maybe hopefully get the ratings up after this scenario, which actually could happen. If I was booking, here's what I'd do. If you have Roman go over in the match, you obviously pin Daniel Bryan, but then you have one of the Usos drag Edge in the ring too. You could have them put chairs on the Daniel Bryan and Edge's neck, and we would all shake our head. We wouldn't get tired. We would be glued to the TV, and the fans would be all nervous. You could have Roman Reigns try to get weapons, steel chair, that try to end Edge and Daniel Bryan's careers by re-injuring the neck. And you know what would blow up? Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? And you would have him come attack the Usos, and you would have a stare down to end Mania with The Rock.
If you had The Rock entering, and that was the last match of the night, and you got The Rock staring down Roman Reigns, I mean, that's just going to send chills down every wrestling fan's body. You know, the most electrifying man in wrestling. You know, I don't know if they're going to push that storyline so fast. I have a feeling they're going to wait a year for that, just because I think he's going to fight.
But they booked Cena and The Rock a year in advance. And they
did, but now you're looking to book 2 years. I don't think you're going to see The Rock in Dallas. I don't think you're going to see The Rock until they go to L.A.
But here's the thing. Dallas has 100K capacity at the Cowboys Stadium.
They do, but The Rock is Hollywood now. Let's face that. He's got that Shaw show. He would fit better off in a Hollywood Mania than he would in a Dallas Mania. But who knows? You know, he might face Roman. Next year. Eventually, you might see this standoff, and I think it's something the fans are going to really want to see. You know, that Samoan dynasty is insane since, the Wild Samoans, Alpha and Seeker, right in the beginning of WWE's infancy. You know, you have such superstars as Yokozuna, Umaga, all these guys that have come through and passed. Rikishi, the Head Shrinkers when he was them. The Rock. You have Roman Reigns, the Usos, even more. People even forget about, Nia Jax. She is part of that Samoan dynasty. Love her or hate her, she's part of that dynasty.
Very true, but I think Versace, I'm going to go. It should be the main event. It's well-deserved, and I'm happy with the status of this, but I think they're going to not give it to Daniel Bryan. I do think they'll have Roman go over, and that idea or something similar happens to send the fans home happy with a heel going over.
Possibly, and I think so too. But you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say no matter who wins this match and who walks out as champion, I don't think I'll be disappointed. Either one of them could be intermediate champion for a little bit. If Daniel Bryan needs one more run before retirement, like I said, I might not be a fan of the yes movement, but as Daniel Bryan's a wrestler, he deserves one more title shot. He's very charismatic with the fans. He can draw. His last title run, he was a heel. I don't think
dropped
that was
to Kofi Kingston.
I don't think that was his best run as champions. I don't think that's his best work as heel. He was entertaining and kind of funny, with the whole, save the environment and all that stuff. But I think as a face is where he does belong. If you like that yes movement stuff, then you're going to get behind it. The fans certainly do. You can see it in the crowd. You can see when he does it. Everybody starts to join in, So if he walks away with the title, I'm not going to complain. If Edge, one of my childhood, greatest favorite wrestlers, I loved him in the Brood when he first came in with Christian and Gangrel.
Who's actually separated in AEW now from Edge, he won't be interfering.
Which was interesting because we saw Christian, debut in this year's Royal Rumble. And I thought he was definitely going to be part of this Mania scene or something to help with Edge. And, that's just done with now.
Because if Edge didn't retire, they were going to have him and Christian have a huge feud at WrestleMania the year after.
They were eventually going to break them up. Yes, that is true, But obviously what happened to Edge and his critical injury, he got blessed and be given a second chance, to wrestle again, which is tremendous for somebody, with that kind of an injury. So that's going to be great. This is going to be, one of the greatest Mania match moments probably, that you've seen in the last 10 years.
I think it's going to be good no matter who wins. Can't go wrong.
If Edge walks away with the title, I'm not going to complain either. If Roman wins, I'm not going to complain. If Daniel Bryan wins, then you know what? He won.
You want the long-term booking to be good. You got to develop whoever wins the title to build up card guys to face them.
All three of these guys can, sell tickets and sell seats. All three of these guys are fan favorites. All three of this is like, WrestleMania 7, Hogan versus Warrior, but now you got a third man, and imagine Hogan versus Warrior versus Savage. That's how similar this is. You got Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns versus Edge. This is big stuff here in this match.
Could have done like Austin, Rock, and John Cena to be inserted in there.
You could have had something like that, too. You have these kind of matches. This is going to be a big match. They're going to all give it their best. The three talented stars are going to have great chemistry in the ring. You're going to see Daniel Bryan be able to shine. You're going to see, Roman Reigns, be able to shine. You're going to see Edge get his Mania moment and really be able to shine. I'm very excited for this match. It's probably the one match that I'm most excited for in Mania.
Oh, me too. I'm so glad it's a main event. But I personally think Night 2 is going to turn out way better than Night 1.
I don't know. I think Night 1 is going to have some surprises just to keep the fans going. Just think of it this way. If Night 1 is terrible, who's going to want to watch Night 2? You got to have two exciting nights. You have to at least get something exciting for Night 1 to happen for Night 2 for people to want to tune in.
I do think that out of all the big names that aren't scheduled for Mania, I think two of them are going to make some kind of appearance, whether it's a Cena, Lesnar, Undertaker, Triple H, or Charlotte or Becky. I think you'll get at least one of them to make an appearance.
You might see Becky. She's due to come back. Undertaker, he might come back in some form. Whether it's not going to wrestle, he might make an appearance. Cena could show up.
Because he loves trolling the fans. So.
Cena can do whatever he needs to do. Lesnar is a possibility.
This will be the first time in 33 years I read online that you won't have Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, or Triple H in a WrestleMania match.
That's pretty interesting, and we'll see how this. That's kind of this going to make this kind of a transition Mania. Then you had this transition before when you got rid of the old wrestlers, Hogan, Savage, Warrior, and you brought in new people like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, and other people. And now you're going to have another transition. You had Lesnar come in and all that. Now you're going to have even another transition period.
I think this will be used to set up the next two Manias, as there's some theory going around, like my Rock and Roman prediction.
Well, there has to be some kind of build, because he announced all three Manias very fast, all together at once. The locations, there's got to be some significance to that. So, I would definitely see some more long-term booking in the future for WWE in this, for these WrestleManias anyways. Even Edge had some long-term booking for over a year. They kind of kept him, doing his thing. He had his last match with Randy Orton, bam.
NXT going separate nights as AEW. I think Vince will pull his cat out of the hat, and I think he will make a huge addition to Mania. I think he will have a great card because he wants fans to keep watching. You got 33 million subscribers on Peacock. You have an opportunity to get your last fans back. It better be good.
You need it. You need it to be good. Peacock's first major event by itself for the U.S. fans anyways. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully there's no issues. Hopefully there's no problems. Hopefully we can watch it without,
Fingers crossed, my friend.
But this will be great. We're just about out of time for our Night 2 preview of WrestleMania 37. We're going to be back shortly, shooting the shit, taking questions and answers.
We're going to talk about past Mania legends, matches that disappointed us, made us happy, lived up to its hype.
We're going to allow callers to call in and talk with us. This is going to be a great night of wrestling. Stay tuned, folks. Versace Stoner out.
Disable. Bye-bye.